Well, it's been about 8 weeks since I last left you with a video, and I apologise because I did actually do another video between as a part 2, but I just felt like there was not enough content. So I've carried on, in the sense, not so much with the film, but carried on building the layout, and pretty much going to give you an update and how it's all going. So we're back for a part 2 on the build of the new layout. I last left you with a video of mentioning that I'm going to start a whole new layout, and I had the baseboards down, and I started mentioning that I'm going to move the old layout from there, from the shed, into this space here, which will give it more dimension and a bit more playability. That's the whole reason for it, really. The other layout I had, you had a running round in a circle, and there was just no playability. There was no timetable to actually make anything work, and I thought, well, that's something I really must factor in this layout. It has to have a purpose, how this layout operates. So for an update, I've obviously got some track down. As you can see, I've got the track running round now. I've got it in a circle and a loop round, and you can see I've got a little module in here which I'll explain in a minute. But yeah, the trains are running around at the moment. I've given them a full, literally been playing trains, moving track around and just seeing how it looks. Again, I've only got the base layer in at the moment, that's packed. I did put some foam underneath it. Cork seems to be the better option, but there was no difference between the sound of the cork and the baseboard itself once I tacked it down. There was a very marginal noise difference. The fact is, I live on my own, so it ain't really a problem. So yeah, I've literally just gone back to the bare wood and just literally tacked all the track down onto the plywood itself. It's running a lot better, a lot smoother, and again, it's because I've used quite long lengths of flexi track. There's hardly any sort of noise, clitter clatter. It's very quiet on the bottom loop, so that works really well. It will work for me, and I'm actually going to go with that. Apart from this section here, I will probably raise it up a little bit, because you obviously want to get the definition of the track and that, just to give that little lift as the trains go around, and that keeps all the wheels uniform. So that's pretty much the track and where I've been up to. I have actually started doing work on the depot side, which I'll explain in a minute. So I've got the first layer down on the depot, and I'll show you that. And obviously I'm now planned this section here. I've actually now got some sort of scenery in the middle. Again, I've only just dropped it on. I haven't actually glued anything in place. I've not made anything. This is just from the old layout transferred to here, and you can see now how it transformed from there to what it is. So that's all good. So going to mention the reverse loop while we're on the track, because otherwise I'll forget. So there was never actually a plan for a reverse loop, and I've added the DCC40 shuttle module, which is just there. Nice little plug and play, really. I was a bit sceptic about these. I've always avoided that kind of thing because I always thought you had to do lots of wiring, and I was a bit, I don't know if I want to go down the route. I bought it, got it through Amazon, if I'm honest, because it's about £16 cheaper on Amazon. Probably won't be the time this video goes out. But all the wiring, how to do it, is on the instructions, and I would advise anyone to follow the wiring on the instructions and how it tells you about to put the fish plates. So yeah, I've wired up my points a lot better this time than I did on the other one. I didn't wire them up, a few I didn't wire up properly. So I made a few mistakes there that I thought I was clever and I wasn't. So module's in there, it switches the train from the polarity without, all you hear is a click, but you don't even know that the lights doesn't change, the sound of the loco doesn't change. It's brilliant. So I'm quite stoked, if I'm honest. But that works. What that gives me, I can now actually transfer a train around this way, bring it round and go round the other way. So thinking back to the dynamics of how the layout works, and if you recall I mentioned there is a depot over that side. So the depot that side, I've now got the first layer, and the idea is it comes off, it's got a little circle round, it comes round to this bit of bridge, which was mitre bridge on my old layout. Now if you remember, nothing actually went over that bridge, not a car, not a train, no nothing, because it was just a dead bit of track. There was no other bridges to complement it, to actually make it work or fit in with anything. But I now want to do some more work to that bridge and make it a little bit longer, finish it off, and I think it'd be really cool to have a train actually running through there from the depot, because pretty much is prototypical. Probably the train would have come back from the other end. It wouldn't have actually come from the depot, but because you had the canal and it would have come over that way. But it would be nice to have, I think that's the Wheelston would have come onto there. So I'm going to bring a train from the depot, and it can come now onto the mitre bridge, and then it will tuck around the back of me here at a high level into a station terminus. So it'll be an actual station terminus on my side here, this side. That being based on Paddington, because it has to be pretty much Paddington. So I put a little station on the left side, and that gives me a track that I can run from that left side station at a higher level, and that can be a track that's not actually connected to any of my DCC, and I can do a shuttle system from that section all the way around to the bottom corner, and then it will just do its own little loop. Now whether I run Royal Mail services through it, or whether I want to run DMU stock, it can do its own little journey, and it can do that little loop. And that will work really well. So I've got always going to have a shuttle system running, that will give me parcel duty, and that will give me DMU using, so I've got two little schedules there. I've got trains that can run from the depot this side, and then they can go to the station, pick up coaches and drop off, and then drive round to the front, take them on their journey, go round the loop. It can go round the loop in circles if it wants to. If I switch the reverse loop here, then it can come back round and come back up and then terminate at the station. So it gives complete playability. That's good. The only other thing that I really needed to add, which would be some rolling stock, whether it be wagons or whatever. So I'm going to have some wagons down the side here, little siding, that I can actually put some in. Obviously we'll probably locate some on the depot, but I can have some like stock located down here, probably oil terminal or building supplies, so that can do a route from here back up on its journey and then drop back at the depot and back down again. So there is some more little scope for me to do that. I'll probably tie that area in with a depot and probably whatever is in the town scene, so it has some sort of purpose, and I'm not going to give too much away at that moment, so I'll probably save that for another day. So that all said and done, that is pretty much what the layout's going to look like. So bringing it full speed, this is where we are today. So in a nutshell, this is pretty much a complete update at the moment of where I am and where I've got to. Now, when I turn the camera around to show you, you'll see that the layout has progressed from where I started to where it is now. The reason is I proceeded to carry on, and I thought this would give a bit more content, sort of like speed the process up, because this layout is very modular. It's flat base layers, pillars and posts, everything that we already know in a layout. Once you see what I've done, you can work out how I've built it. All I've done, I haven't added scenery. I've pulled some of the scenery from the other layout. I've actually incorporated it, because obviously I've got to bring certain bits over to work out how they look, how they're going to fit, and how they're going to feel. At this point, it's just plain trains. Build it in plain trains, that's really what it is. So it's a small layout. It's actually bigger than the old layout, if it makes sense, because there's a bigger loop underneath. So it has a bigger run round. So you can see now I've added the depot scene. I've got some trains on there, just set them out for the moment. It's all wired up, it's all running, but I just explained to you where we've got to. So you can see the depot. I like the way the depot is planned out. I wanted to put a turntable, as I mentioned, but I don't think it would do it justice trying to squeeze it on. That's a 5 foot space, and I don't think I'd squeeze it in there and give it justice. So, and I don't want this to be an old oak common depot layout, so I just want it to be themed, as I said, around London. So that's given me that kind of look. It's given me a nice stock of trains to sit on there. So, I mean, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's 15 trains on there already. And I can probably get a few more. And if I want to get something out, I have to move them all out to get somewhere. So it's going to be a lot of fun. and I'm going to enjoy doing that. The idea of the clear space there is to get more of the buildings in, the axles, the car parking. So I need that space. I want to add more of that kind of thing as opposed to just track and trains. So which Old Common pretty much is, but there is a lot of little areas of, like you've got the big oil fuel storage thing, and so there's things I'd like to incorporate in a better style on there, and obviously the water towers and all that kind of thing. So that's the goal there, to add that, and that in time will progress in its own right. As you can see now, it's still got the little busing under the bridge there. Hasn't changed from when I started off. The bridge, I've incorporated the bridge. The track actually is now on the bridge. That bridge is too small, and it's actually just the right size to get a train through, but it's too short and it's too small. So that will need to be extended and worked on. So that will change. I'll probably keep most of it, but I'll change it. Trains now go through that area, across that bridge, and you can see it running through without a bridge there. So they now come across the top section, and actually now travel into a station line, a dead line on this side of the station, and that gives me a drop off, a pick up, or go down into the loop, or it can go right across to the other side and actually go across down the back of the layout back to the depot. So it can have the front or the back, so it gives me a two-way running really. On the front or the back, I can use double. So that's nice to have. The station, coming around to the station, it levels up to the station. I've created 3 lanes into the station. Obviously the train's siding on this side. Could add some more, but I don't want to do track. I'm just trying to keep a little bit base for some more elements of like buildings at this point. As you can see, I've got 3 lanes for the station. That's going to give me a nice big station in the middle. I can do a canopy, a bit like Strand, Paddington, that kind of thing. Paddington is the base thought for this, but obviously it gives me a little idea. Have got a little track that goes down, might slide down the side there. That will probably, if it goes that far, I'm not too sure how far I'm going to take that. That will probably be a DMU shunt service. It will be on a module, or it'll be the Royal Mail daily routine, whatever I change it to. That will be a little separate track away from everything else that will run just backwards and forwards on its own route. So there will always be something running. That'll be that train running in the background. That was the module that I used on the underground. A lot of the wiring is hidden in certain areas. I've got lift up sections. The wiring is actually underneath the first layer, so I can actually get to it from the top as opposed to the bottom, because I've obviously got a base layer in the middle there, and it'd be hard to get to that. But I have actually got a little flap up that I can actually get to certain areas. This section at the front there where the points are, that's going to be a lot of the electrics. So some of the electrics are going to come back into there, and that'll be all the module sort of feeds in behind that board. And then there is where that brick wall is behind that, which is the back wall, where the buses drive down the road and the track above it. That's actually a train track there, and there's enough space there to create all my wiring rooms. So again, I can do the back and the front on these 2 sides. Now the layout is designed to take apart. Something I didn't do properly on the other one. The middle section actually drops straight out, and then you've got 2 end sections, so it's like 3 sections of track. So this is portable, not something I'd like to drive around, but it could actually be portable, and it could stand quite freely on its own. So that's something that could be done. So it is a lot easier to move than it was before, because I thought if I need to get to that window, it's going to be a nightmare. So I don't want to break things. The only thing I put plastic fish plates in either side, and obviously powered the middle. So all I'm going to lose is broken fish plates, which I can replace for £2 a piece. They're not really a problem, and I have actually got loads of them. So where I've cut the track, I've put plastic fish plates in. That keeps the track nice and level. Doesn't need to come out. It's in there unless it needs to come out, and then I will just replace the plastic fish plates. That's my thought. Therefore, the track will always line up in its own right. So I'm not worried about misalignment. Everything's good, and so far everything's running quite smoothly. My inspiration is pretty much to run 4-car, 2-car sets on this. Don't really want to run big rakes of coaches and stuff, I can do, and run it down underneath, and I can get that for video shots, no problem. I can run my HST round and get that, you know, with the coaches, so I can get all the things I want to. But my intention is pretty much to do like a daily run-in of, you know, small trades commuter from A to B sort of thing, and some shunting with wagons, a bit of coal duty, a bit of oil duty in between, and I think they'll all work really well. So that's pretty much the plan on this. So all is going well, really happy with the way the build's going, and I just want to do a bit more than now, just carry on with this side, and then I can do another video for you guys on how this side's getting on, because you've now seen all that and you know how it's going, so I think that's the way we're going. So I'm going to say a massive thank you to everybody for following my progress and keeping up with me, and a big thank you to new subscribers for tacking along and keeping up with the builds and all the rest of it, so it means a lot. I'm trying to get through all the comments. I didn't realise how many I'll get, but I will get through all the comments as much as I can, so I apologise for that, but I will try my best. So I'm going to carry on, do some more building, and hopefully we'll be back, well, I will be back for a part 3 on the town scene area and the station, because that's the next bit I want to get done. So all is good, and we'll see how we're getting on. So till next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all very soon. And if you're enjoying the build so far, don't forget to tune into part 3 where we look where we go next.